Hi, people. This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is
Season
Season 3
3
of
Pero
Let Me Tell You.
It's Ish back for another little mini-sode. I hope you guys are all doing well. Están cuidando de la corona. It is what it is. We're looking at, what is it, end of April now? So figured on our end, what we can do is continue to give you some little mini episodes with some interviews that we conducted over the course of our time at a little booth in Carnaval on the Mile. So this week, we bring you something a little artistic, a little cultured. We got Tony Mendoza. He's an artist who I know you've seen his stuff, especially if you're here in South Florida. It's very vibrant, very colorful, but it's also very indicative of the South Florida experience. Just to give you an idea, and we'll post some of his pictures, his paintings actually, on our Instagram as well. But he basically, it's like, he's got a thing of mango and then a thing of arroz, and it's arroz con mango. Little things like that, really capturing the essence of what it is to live between the two cultures and to really embrace it. And so it was quite a treat to chat with him. Really nice guy, super groovy. And if you get a chance, check out his work. You will not be disappointed. So without further ado, we present to you our interview at Carnaval on the Mile with Tony Mendoza.
Let me tell you. And welcome back.
Hey guys, so we are here, another one of our, I keep wanting to call it Miracle on the Mile, but it's Carnaval on the Mile. One of our interviews here at Carnaval on the Mile, we have Miami-based artist Tony Mendoza here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. So, okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with Tony's work, the best way I can encapsulate it is picture Miami, Cuban Americanisms, and now put it on a canvas. Bright colors, celebration of our culture. That is the epitome. And obviously we'll post some of his work so you can get an idea of it. But I mean, is that pretty much being pretty succinct in that, Tony?
Yes, it is. I try to express the duality of our existence here, being Cuban and American, or American of Cuban descent, or Cuban who became Americanized. You take your pick. And I think we have a unique culture in Miami, and Miami, Union City, Los Angeles, wherever Cuban Americans grew up, and it's the best of two worlds, and I try to express that in my painting. I didn't live in Cuba, so painting Cuba was not an option, and this is my form. I'm an American. This is my expression of being an American, is this celebration of my parents, grandparents, culture, and mixed with the great United States.
That's awesome. So you were born in the U.S.?
I was born in New York.
In New York. All right. What borough?
Right.
No, I was born in Newburgh, New York.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool. How long have you been in Miami now?
Oh, a long time. A very long time.
Well, actually, that's one of the things I wanted to say, because I've seen a lot of your art, and what I really enjoy from your art on a personal level is that you've captured a lot of like old school Miami. Like I remember you had a painting with Jordan Marsh.
Burdines too.
And Burdines. And I thought that was like really cool, because that's like, you have to be a true Miamian to know those references. So talk to us a little bit about that, in terms of your inspiration of like old school Miami.
Well, again, I grew up in Miami, been here many years. I went to school, high school, and so the culture, as Miami changed over the years, I was part of that change. I lived here, cocaine cowboy, 1980s, and then the 70s, and Mariel boat lift, and riots, and all those great things that happened back in the day. We lived our lives. We just lived our lives like normal people, and went around, stepping over the dead bodies and getting to work and going to school.
Yeah.
And so Burdines, which was the Florida store, was I was the son of Cuban exiles, and most people when we were small kids, were poor. we went to siding, which was
Oh, yes.
there in my case, on 37th Avenue and Northwest 7th Street in front of Los Perros, or the dog track.
Yeah.
And that's where you could afford to go and buy
Central Shopping Plaza,
Central
right?
Shopping Plaza.
Yep.
That's correct. It's shopping the siding.
Yeah.
That's what we would call it. It's shopping the siding. And that's where, it was inexpensive clothes like Kmart, kind of Walmart kind of thing. And that's where you went to get your back to school and your Christmas toys and everything was bought there. Now, Burdines was the epitome of a high-end store, and
Sí, no, es una tienda con caché.
I'm sorry?
Es una tienda con caché.
Una tienda con, mucho caché. And when you were able to afford to buy anything, one piece at Burdines, you would brag to it nonstop for
Yep.
days. Because that was, just to walk into the store and be able to buy a pair of pants or a shirt, it was a big deal. So when Burdines changed when Burdines' name was changed to Macy's back in 20 years ago, more or less, I dedicated a painting to Burdines. So the name, which was synonymous with Miami from the beginning. Burdines existed before Miami even existed.
Yeah. It was such a shame, that whole
It was.
merger.
It is.
Because it lost its identity.
And once I started with Burdines, which the character in the painting, you know who that's for, right?
Yeah.
The character in the painting is a lady with a rumbera shirt and a straw hat, and she was an actual ad from Burdines from the 1950s. Anyway, once I did Burdines, everybody wanted Jordan Marsh, which was the chief competitor's store, the store that my wife personally liked better. She was a Jordan Marsh girl, and then I did Zayre because, of course,
Because citing.
everybody has.
I mean,
everybody has memories of that. People laugh when they see it, and they have to have it. It reminds them of their grandmother, their mom. It's part of our history. And there's a lot of elements, a lot of things that I saw growing up that have disappeared. El Centro Vasco, which is a famous Spanish restaurant in Little Havana. La Esquina Teja, the famous restaurant in Little Havana where Ronald Reagan ate lunch many years ago and everybody went crazy. Wolfie's.
Wolfie's, on the beach.
Yeah.
Was when you were in the disco days, after you hung out at discos till 5 a.m, that's where you went to have breakfast and be spoiled by the Jewish waitresses who made you eat whether you were hungry or not. And so all these are little unique things in Miami that have gone by the wayside, but we don't forget, and they form part of our history. Miami's now a huge city, and I don't know, and I'm sure kids growing up now have their own areas, their own things that they identify with.
Yeah, I'm sure kids nowadays, I mean, just off the top of my head, probably like Wynwood or
Exactly.
Little Haiti, those types of areas are more where they're gravitating towards.
Sure.
But, I mean, I think it just speaks to, again, Miami, it's a big city, and we've said this a couple times, big city with like a small town sort of mentality in a way.
It does, sure.
Yeah. So, that's one of the things in your art that I thought you beautifully did, because you definitely, it has the Cuban American element, but it had the nostalgic Miami element, which not a lot of people really dive into that, specifically in art. So that was, when I saw a lot of your pieces, that was my favorite thing about it.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Yeah, I love the one that's got the plantains on top of the toaster. It's like tostone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you see it, you're like, how have I not been doing this in my head for years? And yet, it's like you're in my collective cultural head, dude.
Well, that's very funny. Excuse me. That's what an artist does, I suppose. You sit outside and you look at society, but you have to kind of be sitting outside. You can't be completely immersed in it because you won't see it. And that's the thing with the puns, the pun, like arroz con mango, which is rice. Is a container of Chinese rice with a mango, who for years I wanted to paint the arroz con mango, which is a very Cuban phrase. I believe it's Cuban.
If it's not, we've definitely co-opted it.
Yes, if it isn't, we believe it is. And for years I was thinking how to paint that without just being a plate of rice, which is kind of boring. And we're eating Chinese food, and that's it. all Cubans eat Chinese food. And here is so.
El cantón.
Arroz con mariposa, arroz frito. Yeah, that's one of my first memories. I was a kid up in Union City. I lived in Union City when I was a kid. And it was the opening of a Cuban Chinese restaurant called La Campana. I thought all Chinese were Cuban when I was a kid. And they opened up La Campana China, and I still remember the thousands of people just standing in line to get fried rice and plantains, and you know, in the freezing winter up in New Jersey. And so I saw the Chinese food container, and I go, this is the rice and the mango, and that's it.
Right.
It's become a very one of my most popular pieces, and
Yeah.
people really identify with that. I guess because there's a mess in everybody's life at one point or another.
Yeah.
Or it's just delicious. Is
The other, it could just because it's freaking delicious.
Yeah. Okay.
So shifting gears a little bit, I mean, I'm looking at your shirt here, which says Miami on it, and it's your artwork on it. But that's a collaboration that you've currently got going, right?
Yes, where I am collaborating with Mr. Red, an Endeavor company called Fulano by Red, which designs T-shirts. I design, most of the designs are mine. He also designs his own. And it's the first time I've done this because I wanted somebody that I could trust. I'm not the most trusting person with my imagery because it's been misused before, but these people have been integral. They've really been, they've honored the artwork, they've respected it. I've been able to collaborate. I have a say in on the material that they use and on what images they use, how they express the images, and it's been very popular. I mean, I'm not popular with millennials. My kids are beside themselves.
Wait till the Gen Zers get a hold of you.
Yeah.
No, we totally understand about your image being misused. We had a recent experience with that, so we do not blame you at all for waiting until that trust, that trusting relationship comes through. And where can they find your shirts?
I'm sorry?
Where can they find the shirts?
At Fulano by Red. Just Google that. Fulano by Red, and you'll see all the ones that are available. They're here at Carnaval on the Mile. If you happen to come by, it's a great event, and by the looks of things, it's probably the big last hurrah for a while for everybody. So come on down, enjoy yourselves. The music is great, the art is fantastic, and of course, just Fulano by Red, and Mr. Red will be there, so you can enjoy that also.
Awesome.
Bueno, thank you so much for taking
Thank
time out. I
you.
know you're really busy, for taking time out and sitting with us. Again, your artwork is very unique, and here on our podcast, we love to distinguish all things Miami. And your artwork is very definitive Miami. So
Thank you.
it's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to have you
My
on.
pleasure.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing by there, see if I pick up a print or two. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.